before we get into that, I'm just gonna do a reminder real quick. So, had you stamped wrong, I keep using the wrong word. Had you I knew something was wrong. I knew I was missing some of my um, possible length here of this cord. Um, I want you to understand that this is it for the quizzes tomorrow. A real quizzes that will be taken as a quizzes grade. I got to record last week's if you did what I asked you to do, get a certain percent. I think I wanted 75% from you on last week's to be like a 5 point homework grade. So we'll hope to get that. But I wanted to re-look at what kind of stuff will be on the real quizzes tomorrow. Remember last week's quizzes, we had questions like this. Remember? Okay, so we had it wasn't in limit notation, but it was as x approaches, what is y approach with the arrows. Okay, fine. It's no big deal. But I did want to cover like increasing and decreasing intervals. You use the x coordinate, not the y. So this one, we'll say this is at the top point at 0, but it looks like it's a little bit off. But hopefully, if you look at your homework right now and you had negative infinity to like 0.2, I'd kind of agree with that because that looks a little bit off with my eyes, right? Anyone see what I'm saying? But that's the point. It's negative infinity to 0-ish. I plug that in for x to create the increasing behavior for y. I do kind of like to do a double, when I'm pointing it at the screen here. So uh, blah, 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 blah. And then, like from here to here, this chunk is decreasing. And that's from 0-ish. If you put 0.2, I wouldn't argue with you. Some sort of decimal because it's a little off. But from here to here, 3, the y's decreasing. That's why you name the x's that make that happen. Fumble. All right, x-intercept shouldn't be big. Leading coefficients positive. The whole idea of n behavior of an x cubed. All right, so that's the other reason why I didn't finish my statement. I don't want to take your homework right now because I won't be able to get it back to you. You're supposed to look through that and just remind yourself of what things are going to be on there, and that's why I do my stamping thing to try not to hold it for a long time from you. And then remember, I really like this section because this really puts together the idea of zeros and then behavior. You had a lot of those on last week's quizzes. Specifically, now things are starting to bridge together. Today we're going to talk about factoring. So we're going to get a polynomial that's not factored, and we got to factor it and get it in this position. And then from that, we'll be able to find x-intercepts. That's coming up. So we're trying to put that all together. But last week, we just had it in factored form, and then you found the zeros because this was a negative x there, that's a leading coefficient that's negative. So then hopefully from your multiplying now, you do understand that this would eventually be negative 1x cubed plus a whole bunch of other stuff. It's the negative x cubed that dictates the end behavior there. All right, so that's the kind of stuff you're getting out of this. Big thing. And it's going to happen again today. Students miss this x being all by itself. That is a 0 of 0 comma 0. All right. Just like negative 1 comma 0 and 7 comma 0. 0 comma 0. That is often ignored by students as one of the x-intercepts, which is also a y-intercept at the same time. So just make sure that you get that and the connection between zeros and what the graph looks like as a sketch. Couldn't care less how low you go on this loop. It's a sketch matching the x-intercepts to the expected behavior of the graph looking like this at the ends for a cubic. So again, understanding that. And then we multiplied. I don't feel like going over that real quick. Someone did ask that they wanted to see one of these from, that's actually not the homework, the binomial theorem. Does anyone want to see any one of these from the binomial theorem homework? Because I did collect, it was mostly second hour. Sorry, second hour, but I looked at second hour and their answers were all over the place. I saw their answers and they weren't even close. By the way, I don't know why. I wish I checked this, but apparently 160 is my favorite number, huh? Okay, 560 one time, then 160 again. So when I generate, that's why I like this thing. I could generate questions and get different results. I was really focusing on the different polynomials. I couldn't believe how many of the same answers came up. Oh boy, program. Okay, what the heck is going on? Jeez.